Just 1 minute. See, if anyone is coming, I think this my screen is visible to all. Okay, for example, Nishant Urta, if you log in as a guest, okay, I think log in time. Okay, it is difficult for me to admit once I'm going to start my session. I just change the setting of the meeting. Okay, now it is okay. Okay, I think now I think it will be not possible for me to come back to the screen again. Okay. Okay, so our today's topic of discussion, okay, that we are having is related to the features and characteristics. Oh no, just 1 minute. I don't know why I need to do this setting every time. Sorry for interrupt. Slideshow. I think I need to go for clear the timing on the slides. Clear timing on all the slides. Okay, now it is correct. Okay. Okay, so today's our topic of discussion. I hope there will not be any issue or any problem. Okay, my screen is visible to all.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I hope there will not be no more disturbances now. Okay. Okay, so today's topic of discussion, I think we have covered the first point as per our syllabus, that is called as basic concept, and we have learned why we should go for object-oriented programming. Okay, and what is the need of object-oriented programming? Why should we move from structured programming to the object-oriented programming? Okay, so C++, Java, and all other next languages, okay, generally they uses the object-oriented programming. But before that, the languages we have done as a C programming, maybe the Pascal, maybe the Fortran, maybe the COBOL, and so on. Okay, so all these languages are not having the object-oriented programming features. Okay, so that's why we have learning this as a object-oriented programming. So let us start understanding the features and characteristics of the object-oriented programming. Okay, so why I have written both the things? As per our syllabus, it is mentioned as these are the features of OOP. Okay, but some of the textbook they refer it as these are the characteristics of the object-oriented programming. Okay, so the meaning is same. Okay, some refer it as a feature, some refer it as a characteristics of object-oriented programming. Okay, so you should not be confused with these terms. Okay, if it is asked in your at the time of your campus interview, you should be clear with that the meaning of all these things are same. Okay, okay. So the first point that we are going to discuss now is so the first feature or the first characteristics of this is known as object. Okay, so now we are learning the term what is meant by the object. Then we are going to learn what is meant by the class. Okay, then we are going to cover what is meant by the inheritance, and if the time remains, we continue with the other features also. Okay, so first now we are going to learn the first feature or the first characteristic of object-oriented programming is nothing but it is known as object. Okay, so when you approach a programming problem in an object-oriented language, okay, so whenever you want to solve the problem, you approach a programming problem, you want to solve the programming problem with the help of OOP, you no longer ask how the problem will be divided into function. Okay, now you will not consider that my problem or my software is not divided into function, but you will focus on how it will be divided into objects. Okay, so your first question should be whenever you are going to design any project, okay, whenever you are going to design any software or you are going to provide the solution to any problem, okay, at that time you will start thinking how the problem, okay, definitely it is a complex problem we are assuming, it is very simple problem. I think the object-oriented programming may not be required for it. Okay, so in such a case, I consider I'm designing the software. I should think about how it is divided into number of objects. Okay, so I consider any problem or any software I want to design, maybe for our college, maybe for the university, okay, maybe for the automobile industry, maybe for any organization, our MIDC, anywhere. Okay, so if you want to deliver the software, at that time, what you are going to do is you are going to start thinking that how I can divide my problem or how I can divide the software into number of objects. Okay, so that is what the point we have mentioned here. Okay, how it will be divided into the number of objects. Okay, now thinking in terms of object, your thinking should start in terms of the object. So thinking in terms of object rather than function. So don't think that I will divide my problem into number of function. I will focus on, I will divide it in number in the terms of the object. And you are knowing that the object is having the two characteristics. One is object is having the data which is related to that object, and it is having the function which operate on that particular object. Okay, so both will be combined. Okay, and now you start thinking about the which are the different objects rather than function has a surprisingly helpful effect on how easily programs can be designed. Okay, so we are designing our program in terms of the number of objects, not in terms of the number of function, and our approach for problem solving will be now here onwards. It will be changed to look the problem can be divided into number of objects. Okay, so don't think is in the number of the function or the procedure. Okay, so this is the first point. This result from close match between objects in the programming sense and the object, okay, in the real world. I think it is will match. Okay, I think I have something is missing here. The result from the close match between object in the programming sense and the object in the real world, okay, that we are going to consider. Okay, so that word may be missing. So I considered what kinds of things become object in an next question I'm having. What kinds of things become objects in the object-oriented programming? Okay, so I want, yes, I have told you that here onward start thinking to divide the problem in the terms of object. Then your next question will come, what kind of things I should consider it as object? I should consider which is object and I should not consider which is not object. Okay, so that's why I'm having this particular thing. That's why I'm having this list with you so that you will understand what is meant by the object. Now I'm taking one example. So here onwards, I'm just showing you the example that which one you can consider it as the object. Okay. Now suppose I'm considering it as a physical object. Getting me? Suppose I consider it as a physical object. Okay. So for this physical object, I hope the recording is on, na? No issue. Yes, recording is going on.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Okay, so now we are considering it as, whenever I consider it as a example as a physical object, now which will be my physical object under the category. Suppose my project is related to physical object, so I can say that in a automobiles, in a traffic flow simulation, I consider it will be a physical object. Maybe the electrical component in a circuit design. Okay, suppose I consider different components in the circuit design program. All these electric components will become my object. Okay, in automobiles industry or in automobiles, okay, the traffic flow simulation, okay, how the it may be considered as an object. In countries, in an economical model, okay, if I consider the economical model is also considered as an object. In aircraft, in the air traffic control system, so air traffic control system may be my one of the object in the aircraft. Okay, so all these are the object. I'm going to show you so many examples of this so that you will clear with the concept of what is meant by the object. Okay, so I'm just moving to the next slide for the different example. So suppose I considered the area or the field is elements of computer user environment. Okay, elements of the computer user environment. I say Windows is my one of the object. I say the menu that I'm having the menu bar. That menu itself will be one of my object. Maybe the graphics objects are there. I may consider lines, rectangle, circle. All these graphics I may consider it as another object, and it is one of the another object. I may consider the mouse, keyboard, disk driver, printer. All I consider these are the different objects. Okay, if I am considering related to computer user environment, okay, then I can say that the mouse is also one of the object. The keyboard is also object. The disk driver is maybe another object, or printer, and so on. So I'm just dividing it into the different objects. Okay, I may consider my Windows, which is displayed over here, maybe one of the object. I may consider menu, which is displayed also another object. Okay, see, I'm just giving so many different examples so that you will understand which thing you can consider it as an object. Getting me? See, whenever you find that the another entity, okay, I'm saying that another entity having different characteristics and different function, then you separate it as object. Getting me? For example, I say, suppose I just talk about my college or maybe the department. Okay, now in the department, why I say teacher is another object and student is another object? The reason is the characteristics of the student or the data of the student is different, and the function they will perform is different. Teacher, I think they will come as another object. Okay, because why I have separated teacher and student? The reason behind this is the teacher is having certain different properties. They are having some different functions. So it's separated as object. Now again, under teacher, I may have the teaching staff as well as non-teaching staff. Okay, I may have the teacher, maybe the lab assistant, maybe the peon. Okay, but all this comes under the one object as a will not come under the object as a teacher. Remember, all the means lab assistant is not teacher, maybe your peon is not teacher, other menial staffs are there in the, hey, maybe your bus driver, okay, or they are not teacher, but all they comes under which object? Can anybody explain? If I say teacher object, under teacher, I think the lab assistant will not come under teacher, maybe your peon will not come, maybe the office staff will not come under it. Okay, so they will not belong to the teacher object. So all these entities I have said, maybe the lab assistant, maybe the peon, maybe the office people. Okay, they will come under which object? No, they will not come under teacher object, but they comes under the object as an employee or maybe the staff. Getting me? So if I consider at college level employee, then that employee object may be divided into teacher, may be divided as a lab assistant, may be divided as the office staff, may be divided as the drivers and so on. Getting me? So whenever you find the functionality is different. Okay, but now you can find all this teacher, all they belongs to have some characteristics which are common, that they all belongs to the NBN Sinhagad College. Okay, they are all have the some duty allotted to them. Okay, they are having they have to bind with the timing of the college. Okay, they will have the, okay, comes under the salaried person and so on. Okay, so some characteristics are common. So we have to find out, we have to look all to the problem that how I can divide it into the number of objects. So in that case, I say my main object is employee. Employee is my one of the object. Getting me? Under that employee, I may have the different object. Okay, I have derived the different object. We are going to learn the inheritance also. At that time, this will be very much clear. Okay, at that time, we consider that the teacher is the part of the employee object. Okay, but having some having some additional characteristics, such as they are having teaching load, they have to conduct the lecture. Non-teaching staff or maybe the office staff, they are not going to conduct the lecture. They are having some different work, different function. Okay, so you start thinking every problem statement or the software as the how I can divide it into number of objects. Okay, and that was our main purpose. I give another example. Suppose I consider data storage constructs are there. Then I say customize arrays, maybe one of the objects, stack is another object, linked list is another object. I think this semester you are learning the data structure subject also. So you are going to learn what is mean by the stack, linked list and so on. Arrays. So I consider stack is one of the object. I consider linked list one of the object. For example, suppose I consider stack as one of the object, then you are knowing that the stack is having the function push and pop. Okay, so push and pop become the function. And what is the data of the stack? Maybe the atom or the number I'm storing. Okay, or the what I'm storing in the stack, that particular element will be data. Maybe I am maintaining the top pointer and the bottom pointer, that is my data. Getting me? So that is my data of the object stack. And which are the function? As you are knowing, push is the function, pop is the function. So I consider the stack as one of the object. Getting me? So for the linked list, all of you are knowing, linked list must have the data or the atom is there, and it must have the next and previous pointer. So this is my data. Okay, but which are the function? Insertion and deletion. These are the function, okay, that we are having. Okay, so similarly, you should start thinking the how I can divide it into the object. Then binary tree may be the another object. Okay, so if I consider for human entities, okay, then which will be the object I'm having? Employees may be the object. Just now we have seen employee may be the object. The students are the another object. Okay, I think just now I have explained this. Okay, instead of making the teacher as a separate object, it is better for me to make the employee as a object, because under the employee, your teachers will come. Okay, your office staff will come, your lab assistant will come. So all this comes under belong the employees. Okay, it is better. Student is another object. Okay, maybe if I am talking about the company, then customer is another object. Okay, I can say sales is another object. Okay, so many things are there. So I'm just considering this for the purpose of your understanding. One more example. I think we have seen so many examples. Let us continue with a few example, and we will continue with the discussion to understand what it means by the classes. Okay, so for example, suppose I considered my area is collection of data. Okay, then I consider my inventory is another object, my personal file is another object. Okay, everyone has their own personal file. So that personal file is my object, what data it is having. A dictionary is another object. I consider a table of latitude and longitude of the world cities may be another object. Okay, because my purpose is collection of the data. I collect the data of the latitude and longitude of all the cities in the world. Okay, so that was my software or the project. Okay, I consider this is my one of the object. Okay, so user defined data type. I think this is known to you. Suppose I consider the time, then it will be another object. The angles will be another object. Complex number is another object. Okay, points on the plane will be the another object. If I consider for computer games, which are the different objects in my computer games, okay, I think everyone will easily understood. Okay, because you are having more knowledge of the computer game than me. Okay, so you are knowing which are the different objects are there in the computer games. So cars in the auto race. Okay, suppose you are having the game related to the racing game. So I consider car will be the one of the object. Okay, cars in the auto race. Position on the board game. Suppose I am talking about the the chess, then the chess as well as the checkers, all these are the position on my board. Okay, chess board will be considered as a different object. Okay, if I consider animals, okay, and the situation will be the another object. Suppose I'm playing the game. I think generally you used to play such type of the games. Okay, maybe fighting related games. Okay, then you consider the opponents and the friends in the adventure games are the object. Okay, opponents is the object and your friend in that fighting game will be another object and so on. Okay, I think I have explained so many things related for you to clear with how I can consider which as the object. Okay, is it clear to all?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so I hope all of you will be in a position whenever any program is given to you or whenever any problem is given to you to solve, you start thinking that how I will divide the problem statement into number of objects. Okay, and when I say object means that object is having the data associated with it and it is having the function which is going to perform. Getting me? So suppose I can say opponent of the in the game, opponent is object. So definitely opponent, okay, is having the data, all the characteristics, but it is having the function which are different than the object of the friend. Friend will be this considered as a they are going to help the user. Okay, they are going to support it. Okay, their function is related to supporting opponent. I think they may in a position to, okay, if it is related to whatever the different games you are playing, okay, they may be, okay, going to damage the user. Okay, maybe they throw the bomb, they maybe have a number of, okay, the things with them and it will be there. So all this we have to think about what is the data of that object and how I can apply the which functions are related to that particular object. Okay, which the function of it. So function and data we combine and we consider it as an object and divide the problem statement into number of objects. Okay, so I'm just moving to the next slide now. I hope all of you understood what is mean by the object, and this will be understood to you only when you start thinking everywhere, when you start thinking to any project, when you start thinking to any software as how it is a combination of the or it is a group of objects. Okay, and which are the different objects. Okay, now once you divide your software or the project in the form of the object, definitely you can divide your work. Okay, you can say that one team or one or two students will start working on the student object. Okay, another will work on the employee object. Another will work on the examination as a separate object or so many things. Okay, so divide it into object. Okay, that was our main purpose. Now let us understand the second feature. I think object is the first and important characteristics of OOP. So I consider this is my second feature or second characteristics of OOP, which is called as the classes. Okay, so now we are going to start learning what is mean by the classes. Okay, now in OOP or in object oriented programming, okay, we say that the objects are the members of class. I think this is very important. Okay, in object oriented programming, objects are the members of the class. Means first I have to declare or first I have to define the class. म्हणजे मला पहिल्यांदा काय करावं लागेल, क्लास डिफाइन करावं लागेल, क्लास डिक्लेअर करावं लागेल. Okay, and then all the members of that class will be the objects. Okay, so we say objects are the members of the class. Okay, now if I consider this particular approach, then almost all computer languages have built-in data types. I'm just giving the example of what is meant by the class and what is meant by the object, and how I can say objects are the members of the class. Just to give this as an example, okay, or to understand this, I'm just giving this example. Almost all computer languages have built-in data types. Okay, for instance, integer is one of the data type. Okay, for example, integer, okay, in predefined in the C++ now. Okay, now if I considered the integer is the data type, then generally how I will declare the variable using integer? You can declare many variables of the type integer as you need in your program. Okay, so you are going to do this. Okay, just 1 minute. That is what I told. Okay, guest students, okay, should not log in late. Okay. Okay, just 1 minute. I'm just taking 1 minute. Okay. Alsifa Phul Mamdi, I think you have just joined now as a guest. Okay, and as I told, if you are logging as a guest, log in the session in time. Okay, it is difficult for me. Okay, now I am admitted you as a guest through my mobile. So I need to open it on the laptop as well as on the mobile. I need to check if anyone is logging as a guest and again allow them. Okay, so if you are having the account as a guest, as I already told in the previous lecture, instead of guest, you log in as the normal user. If you are having any issue with your username and ID of the Microsoft team, discuss with the Vabressor or inform him, get the password off and log in as a that user. In that case, I think your title will not be as a guest. If you are a guest, I need to admit you. Okay, and for admitting once the lecture is start, it will become difficult for me. Okay, yes, it is clear to you. Alsifa Furmamdi, I am talking about you.
Yes, sir.
Hello. Okay, so
Yes,
if you are
sir.
logging as a guest, log in time. Okay, so we continue our discussion. Okay, so suppose I'm having the integer as my data type, then I can declare many variables of the type integer in my program. So for example, I declare integer day, integer count, integer divisor, okay, integer answer, and so on. Okay, now in this case, in a similar way, you can define many objects of the same class. So in this case, okay, for this particular example, can anybody tell me which is my class? Which I should consider as a class? Yes, anyone? Integer day, integer count, integer divisor, integer answer. In that case, which is my class now? Which should be integrated as a class? Integer. Very correct.
Integer.
So I consider integer is my class. Okay, so integer is class, and the day is one of the object which is of the type integer. Okay, so that's why we have said objects are members of the class. So I can declare a number of objects. Okay, so day is one of the object, count is another object, divisor, answer is another object. Okay, but all belongs to the same category or same type or same characteristic belongs to the integer class. Okay, so that's why we have written this. Okay, so similarly, you can define many objects of the same class. Getting me? I can define a number of objects of the class. For example, I just now have said, for example, employee is my class. Getting me? Then what I will do in my employee, okay, I will say that okay, the staff member is one of the employee. Employee is my data type now. Okay, employee I will write teaching staff. Employee non-teaching staff. Okay, employee driver. Getting me? So all this will become the object which belongs to the same class. Okay, and that's why it is important for us to define the class. Okay, so I'm just showing the example on the next diagram for you to understand what is meant by the class. In a similar way, you can define as shown in the diagram. I'm just showing the diagram over here. I think it will be visible. Okay, next. Okay, no issue. Okay, now here I am considering in this particular diagram that this is my class. Getting me? What this is? It is the class. Okay. Now, generally, the class is having specification for the class. Okay. Okay. So I'm considering it is a specification of the class. Okay. Now here, I consider my class. Okay. It is generally, I think this is not that much visible or the clear, but I consider it is a okay, one of the class, don't worry, it may be any of the class that we are having. Okay, now this is having this class. Now I will create the object of this class. I think we are more interested only into it. Okay, when we come to the program, we will declare the appropriate data and the function also. So I consider this class, and this is my, I declare this is my object of the class. Okay, so this is my object number 1, this is my object number 2, this is my object number 3. Okay, now this is the object which is having the name that I am giving object 1, whatever the name I can give. Okay, not necessarily. I will declare it as a class. What is the name of the class is? Okay, then I will declare the object. It is having all the features of the class. Whatever I have declared is applicable to this. So I consider this object 1, objects of this class is object 3, and so on. I can declare n number of objects over here, okay, of the class which I have created. Okay, now I hope this will be very easy for everyone to understand. I think when we go to the program, at that time we'll declare the class and we will declare the member of this class as an object. Okay, up to this it is clear.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes.
so what it means is to create the class, to create the object, I must declare the class first. Okay, because unless and until I declare the class, I cannot create the object of that particular class. Okay, so we say objects are the members of that particular class. Okay, so I'm just explaining the same thing on the next slide. I continue the discussion. So class serves as the plan or it is a blueprint. Okay, so the class will serve as the plan or the blueprint. It specifies what data and what functions will be included in the object of that class. Okay, so it specifies, the class will specify what data and what functions will be included in object of that particular class. Okay, for example, I consider employee is my class. Okay, so which are the parameters of the employee? Every employee must have the employee ID is there. Okay, every employee must have the name, employee name is there. I must have the post of that particular employee. Okay, employee must have the, I can say the in time and out time. Okay, so different object may have the different values for that data. For example, if it is my driver is my employee, so the in and out time of the driver is different. Okay, in our college, so driver belongs to it is employee, but now employee is the class and driver is the object. So I will declare employee comma driver. So driver is my object. Now it is having the same value. In and out time is there for the driver. Okay, but the driver in and out time may be forgot 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Okay, morning 8 to 8 p.m. Okay, but if I consider another object as employee teacher or employee, I say as a lecturer or the teacher or the professor. Okay, so that will be my another object. Now that object is having the data variable is same in and out, but the in time and out time of the teacher may be different. It may be 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Okay, maybe 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. whatever the time is decided. So the values of the data for different object may be different. Okay, but they are having now, for example, the function. Okay, so all these things will be, okay, I think as we go for the program, I think it will be more easy for you to understand. So what the class specifies is the class specifies what data and what function will be included in the object for that particular class. So class is just a plan or it is a blueprint. Now, and this is very important. Defining the class doesn't create any object. I think that's why I have underlined this word. Defining the class doesn't create any object. I have defined the class, but I am not having the member of that particular class. So it will not create the object. Okay, so it is similar to, I think you have learned the structure. Okay, in the C programming. You declare the structure as a student, you are having this inside it, you are having the roll number of the student, name of the student, percentage, and you close the structure with semicolon. But you have to declare the member of that class, S1, S2, S3, structure student S1. So S1 is the member of that structure. Okay, so in similar way, the only class, defining the class does not create the object. Okay, because the class is just the existence of the data type into doesn't create any variable. Okay, so you have to create the object of that class. Okay, then and then only it will be useful. Okay, so that's why class is only a blueprint. It is not the actual object. Okay, so we have to declare it as a object. A class, that's a description of a number of similar objects. So what is the class? I think I have shown so many definitions of the class. Hope all of you will remember. The class, therefore, it is the description of number of similar objects. Okay, they are having the similar properties and similar characteristics. I combine it into a class. This fit our technical understanding of the word class. Okay, I think that will be now. I'm just giving this one example over here. Okay, this is related to all these musicians. Okay, so the Prince, Sting, Madonna, okay, all these are the members of the rock musician class. Okay, so rock musician, this is the group or the class. I rather say it is a class. Okay, and all these are the object of the class, or these are the members of the class. Okay, so the musician Prince, Sting, Madonna, all these are the members of the class rock musician. So rock musician is becomes the class, and this becomes the object of the class. There is no one person. Okay, so this is very important. There is no one person called rock musician. Okay, so rock musician is not any person. It is a class. Okay, for example, employee. If I say this is the employee, there will not be any person as an employee. Okay, so it is a class. So similarly, the rock musician is a class. There is no one person called rock musician, but the specific people with the specific names are members of this class if they are having the certain characteristic. Okay, if they are have the similar characteristic, then they will become the members of the class or become the object of the class rock musician. Okay, so this is the way that we are considering the relationship between the class and the object. Okay, so unless and until you create the object of the class, I think the class will not comes into the existence. Okay, class means it is just you are defining. Okay, but you are not in the position unless and until you create the object, you cannot use that particular class, and that is what the purpose of my explanation till now. Okay, I hope all of you clear with this. Is it clear to all?
Yes, sir.
Anyone want to ask any question? I think this
No, sir.
word, uh, uh, just 1 minute. This word is used in so many books, so that's why I have mentioned it as a separate color. An object is often called as an instance of the class. Okay, here onwards I'm going to use this word. What is the object? Object is an instance of the class. Okay, always remember, object is an in some book we can also call it these are the members of the class, but in some of the cases, maximum book they refer it as a what is object? Object is an instance of a class. Okay, same object is also the member of the class. That is also correct, but generally we use the word as the object is an instance of a class. Okay, so I hope all of you cleared with this. Okay, just understand this. Whenever I say the instance of the class means the object is an, I'm creating the instance of the class, and that will be called as the object. Okay, so remember this, an object is an often called an instance of the class. Okay, now I will ask, anyone have any question? I think someone
No,
want
sir.
to ask. You say no or you want to ask question? Yes. Anyone?
No, sir.
Excuse
Okay.
me, sir.
Yes.
So when actually when we write a program and all, then when we run the program, the memory is created. So is it so that when we create the object of the class, at that time
Yes,
the memory
yes.
is created or what?
Yes, very correct. Okay, unless and until I declare the object, okay, I think the memory is not created for it. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So for example, I declared the class, for example, student. It is more similar to class student is having these are the data and these are the function. Okay, I have written it. Okay, and I have closed this. So this is my class. Okay, but unless and until I create the object of this, okay, the memory is not created for that particular class. Okay, so when I create the object, okay, whatever the data type, for example, whatever the that we are having, it will be memory and all this thing will be created only when you create the object. Okay, so that's why we are considering, okay, it is an only the plan or the blueprint. Okay, it will not exist. It comes into the existence until we create the object of it. Okay. Yes. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So you create the instance of the class, you declare the object, give some name to it, then only it will be created. For example, student is a class, and I've declared class student, and then I write S1. Getting me? Or suppose I say class student. Okay, class is my keyword. Correct. Student is, suppose I consider it as the name of the class, and then I say, suppose instead of S1, I say it is SYCAC. Getting me? So SYCAC is my object. Okay, which belong to class student. And unless and until I create SYCAC, the memory is not allocated. It will not be in existence. Okay. So I think you have asked very good question, so that it will be all the students will be have a very clear understanding of it. Okay. Okay. So let us continue with the next feature of this. Okay. we are call it as what is mean by the inheritance. Okay, so today we are now learning. So the first feature of characteristic of OP is what is mean by the object. So object is the first feature, second is the class. Now third we are moving to the inheritance. Okay, so let us understand what is mean by the inheritance. Okay, I hope the screen is visible to all. Yes, it is visible. My voice is audible clearly.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let us
Yes,
understand.
sir.
Yes, let us understand what is mean by the inheritance. Okay, the idea of classes leads to the idea of the inheritance. Okay, in our daily life, we use the concept of classes divided into subclasses. Okay, generally we say that this is my one class and that class is now divided into subclasses, or these are the subclasses are there. Okay, we know that the animal class, what I consider animal is a class, it is divided into mammals, okay, then the insect, birds, and so on. So animal is one of the class, and others are, I call it as, these are the subclasses of which belongs to that main class as an animal. Okay. So similarly, okay, suppose I consider it as a vehicle. Okay, suppose I declared that vehicle is the class, then what will happen? The vehicle class is having the certain properties. Okay, if it is a vehicle, it must have the vehicle number. Getting me? It must have the wheel. Now the wheel may be four wheels, whether it is two wheel, it will be two wheeler. If it is four wheels, it is four wheeler or car. If it is a truck, I think they are having, I say at 6 or 8 wheels are there. Okay, so but all must have the number of wheels. Okay, it will be there. Okay, they must have the vehicle registration number. Okay, so those who are going to drive this vehicle must have the permission or the license with them. So all these characteristics belong to the main class called as a vehicle. Okay, so we have a vehicle is the main class which can be divided into cars, into trucks, into the buses, maybe the motorcycle and so on. Okay, so now in this particular case, I consider the vehicle is my main class and the car, truck, maybe the bus, maybe the motorcycle or two-wheeler, all these are my subclasses. Okay, and after understanding this, okay, whenever you start designing the software, whenever you start doing the program, then you come to know that there is a main class and there are subclasses are there, okay, which belongs to this, okay, having some common characteristic. So all having the same some common characteristics of vehicle, but now they are having something additional properties are there. Okay, car has some additional things which are not there with the truck. Car having something additional which is not there with the two-wheeler. Okay, car having something different which is not there with the bus. Okay, or the buses and so on. So this subclass is having the all the properties they are having with the vehicle, plus they are having their own additional characteristics and function. Okay, are there. In such a case, we divide it into the subclasses, and there is the concept comes as a inheritance. The principle in this sort of division is that each subclass share a common characteristic with the class from which it is derived. Okay, so just now I told car, truck, bus all comes into the vehicle. So there are the certain characteristics of the vehicle should be applicable to them. For example, they must have registration number, they must have the a number plate, or some kind of thing which comes under the vehicle. Okay, so the principle in this sort of division is that each subclass share a common characteristics with the class from it is derived. Okay, now for example, car, truck, buses and motorcycle all have the wheels. Okay, they must have the engine or the motor, they must have the horsepower. Okay, I think car is having different horsepower, truck and buses may have the higher horsepower, or we generally call it as RPM. Okay, will be more. For two-wheeler it is only 110 cc or 120 cc vehicle is there. Okay, and so on. So that will be the motor power is there. These are the defining characteristics of vehicle. In addition to the characteristic shared with common member of the class, each subclass also have its own particular characteristics. Okay, so buses, for instance, have the seats for many people. Okay, so what is the sitting capacity of car? It may be only 5%. Okay, for bus, okay, I think it will be 40-seater, 60-seater capacity will be there. Motorcycle only 2% can sit. So these are the additional characteristics they are having. While truck have the heavy loads, they can carry the heavy loads. Okay, maximum weightage they can carry. Okay, and so on. So these are the additional properties they are having. So in this case, I call the main class. In this case, it's called as my base class, and all other are called as a derived class. So in this case, which is my main class or base class? Vehicle. Vehicle become my base class. Okay. base or main class, and all this car, truck, these will become my derived class. Okay, or derived classes. So that is what I have written in the next point. In a similar way, an OP class can become a parent of several subclass. I think they have written very correctly. The object-oriented programming class can become a parent of several classes. In C++, the original class is called as the base class. Okay, so I consider here, this is my base class is the vehicle. Other classes can be defined that share its characteristic but add their own characteristic as well. And all these are called as the derived class. Okay, please remember these two terms. What is meant by the base class and what is meant by the derived class. In our example, the vehicle becomes the base class and all these car, two-wheeler, truck, buses, all these become the derived class or derived classes. Okay, they're having all the common properties of the vehicle, but they're having their additional things which are not okay there with the other type of the classes. Okay, now I'm not talking about the object. Remember, I'm talking about the classes again. So my base class, and from that I am having the derived class. Okay, so I hope it is clear. We just go with the reference to the diagram, okay, so that it will be more easy for everyone to understand. Okay, so let us understand the diagram of the inheritance. Okay, now here, okay, I'm just giving or considering the same example. Okay, just 1 minute. Okay, so here I consider this is my base class. Now I'm not changing the example. The reason is it will be more easy for you to understand. So in as per our example, this base class name is vehicle. Correct? Okay, I think I'm having the mouse to draw it, so it will not be very correct. I hope you understand. Okay, so this V stands for the vehicle. So my base class is vehicle. It is having the feature A and feature B. Okay, so this is having these two features. Now, which are the feature A and feature B will be? I'm just considering it as the example. Maybe every vehicle must have their registration number. There must have the okay. I consider as a certain common characteristic they are having. So all these things will be there. Okay. Now all these are now derived classes. For example, I consider this is my class car. Okay, so I'm having the class car. So car class is having the feature A as well as feature B. Okay, but it is having its own additional feature. So feature C is something added for separately for the car. Okay, so they are having their own they are having okay the properties of the base class plus they are having their own characteristics will be added. Okay, so for this will be now car is my derived class. Suppose this I consider it as a bus. Okay, so I consider it as a in the case of the bus. Okay, I am having the feature A, feature B is there already, which belongs to the class B as class base class as it is. Now they are having their additional feature D and additional feature E. Okay, so here they are similarly we are having suppose this is considered as a two-wheeler okay, or the motorcycle. Okay, it may be the case. So similarly, all these are the derived classes, and this is considered to be my base class. Okay, now the main advantage of this that we are having is in the help of the inheritance. Okay, so what we have learned, okay, or what we are going to consider is all the data and the variable and the function, okay, or this will be accessible to the derived class. They will use this as it is. Plus now they will add some additional features into it. Okay, and this is one of the important feature that we call it as the inheritance of the object-oriented programming. Okay, so there are the different types of inheritance are there. So we are having the now suppose it may happen. Okay, I'm just explaining this in short because when we learn the inheritance and the program, all the things will be clear to you. Okay, but I'm just considering. Okay, this is my normal inheritance. Getting me? Now suppose I consider this my base class A1. Okay, I consider that this is my base class 1. I write it as Roman okay, later. So this is my base class 1. Now my car okay belongs to the base class 1. Getting me? So I think it is derived from this okay base class 1. It may happen that it is derived not only from the base class 1 but it also derived from the another base class 2 also. So it inherit the more than one properties of the base class. So base class 1, this is the base class 2 suppose. Getting me? Now in such a case, okay, for example, okay, it belongs to suppose it's my own company. For example, this is the base class as Maruti Suzuki. Suppose I consider. So Maruti Suzuki may have the different additional features as compared to another company. Okay, they may not be there. Okay, so this car may be derived from more than one base class. Getting me? So in that case, the concept comes as a multiple inheritance and multi-level inheritance and so on. Okay, we'll discuss at that time. I'm just to explain you why this multi word comes. Okay, so it may happen that they belongs to or that particular one class may be derived from more than one class. Okay, now in that case, what will happen? Suppose this 2 base class number 2 is having the feature M. Suppose I write it, for example, it is having the feature M. So obviously the car which is derived from both may have the feature A and B from the base class first, and again it is also having the feature M. Okay, feature M taken from the base class number 2 or the second base class, and also it is having its own additional feature as a C. Okay, so in such a case, as we just goes on moving towards such thing, there will be the concepts of multi-word comes, and we have to definitely at that time we learn what is the difference between multi-level and multiple inheritance also. Okay, now this will be, I consider it as multiple inheritance. Okay, but multi-level means after the car. Okay, suppose I just want to show it here. Okay, we will discuss this in detail, no issue, but just for your understanding. Now I'm having this as a car. Okay, so I consider it as a level. Multi-level indicate that I consider this is my base class number 1. Okay, this is generally multiple. Okay, I mean, this is derived from more than one class. This is my first class. From that, I have derived another class. Okay, I suppose I consider this is D1. Okay, and again I will go to the next level, and I have designed one more derived class, this one. So now this is having the features of this as well as this. So it is level. This is one level, second level, third level. So I just goes on increasing the level of this. So it will become the multi-level and so on. Okay, so similar kinds of the things that we are going to learn, and this is one of the important feature or characteristic of object-oriented programming. Okay, so I hope all of you understood with what is meant by the inheritance. Okay, is this clear to all?
Yes, sir.
Yes, anyone want to ask
Yes,
any
sir.
question? See, in the initial sessions or the lecture, I think I'm going a little bit slow, or I'm just having more explanation, because my purpose is you should be very much clear with the OP concept. Our aim of the subject is not learning the C++. आता मी काय सांगते तुम्हाला clear होईल. Okay, what I'm saying, our purpose of subject is not to learn C++ language. Our purpose of the subject is to understand object oriented programming, and now that is using C++. Getting me? But maybe I think the next year syllabus or whatever the revision is there in the syllabus, I think we have suggested to the university to have the subject OP using C. Okay, I want to learn object oriented programming with the help of with the help of not C++, it is Java programming. Okay, so OP using Java programming or OP using Java, that can be included. So what this indicate is, okay, what this indicates, our language doesn't matter. Okay, whether you are using C++ to explain the OP concept or whether you are going to use Java programming to learn the OP concept. Getting me? Our purpose is to learn the object oriented programming, and to implement this concept, I may use C++, I may use the Java, or I may use the any other programming language which supports the object oriented programming. Getting me? So that was the reason. Okay, I have not yet moved to the C++ program directly. We are learning the concept of the OP first. Okay, so I hope all of you understood the purpose of the subject. Okay, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I think we have learned in this today's lecture only 3 features. First one is object, second is class, third is inheritance. Okay, so in next lecture we are going to continue with the features. Okay, and we are going to learn what is mean by the maybe the polymorphism. Okay, we are going to learn what is mean by the reusability of the code. Okay, in the polymorphism we are having maybe the operator overloading or function overloading concept. Okay, so we are going to continue our next 3, I think minimum 3 features. Okay, we are going to continue in the next lecture, and then only we are going to cover the point. And after that lecture, or if the lecture will only completed in half an hour, then only we'll go for the first C++ program to understand, or to it is with the help of the how to declare the class and how to create the object and how to use it and so on. That will be our the first C++ program. So I hope in the next lecture, if we continue, we can complete the next features within half an hour. the next half an hour we can have a first C++ program, okay, which is more related to the OP concept. Okay, I hope all of you have enjoyed the session and you understand what is meant by the clear definition of what is class, what is object, and what is the inheritance property. Okay, thank you all. Let me download your attendance. If anyone have any question, you can go ahead and ask the question. Just 1 minute. Just 1 minute. Let me download the attendance. I think our subject is having, as per the timetable, only 3 lectures per week. Okay, I think that may not be sufficient for us. Maybe next or after the first week or second week, I will inform others to add 1 more lecture. At least we should have 4 lectures per week, so that it will be more easy for us to learn the subject and complete it. Okay. Okay. So I have downloaded, I think, and that the schedule is also, I think, today is Thursday, na? I think we are having the lecture only on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Okay, so Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, we are not having lecture. So there will be the gap of 4 days. Okay, and then again, if I conduct a lecture on Tuesday directly, okay, next week it will be okay. But after that, we will I will inform them to change the timetable. Okay, because the gap of 4 days, and again I will start explaining you. I think it will be a little bit difficult. Okay, so I will see that how it will be adjusted when there is a revision of the timetable. We are going to add 1 more lecture, and we will also change the days also, so that we will having the continuation of the lecture. Thank you. I have downloaded the attendance. All the students can leave the session now. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.